Qualifier season has now begun for PowerPlay, and after attending your first qualifier, your team might have discovered that moving around on the field is a lot more difficult with 16 poles and 4 robots swinging and moving around. Difficulty navigating can be a problem for many teams, and a possible cause is that the commands your drive coach gives need to be more specific and accurate to your drivers.
Another cause is driver practice. You better be getting those hours in.
Through a bit of testing, Equilibrium's found a method that works well for us, and although each team synergizes differently, you might find it useful for you as well. Introducing
Battleship Positioning.
On the PowerPlay field, there are 25 junctions organized in a 5x5 grid. We can assign each column of junctions a letter from A to E, and each row a number from 1 to 5. Each junction is then named by its column's letter and its row's number. This naming is based on the direction your drivers are facing, so no matter which alliance you play on, A1 will always be the ground junction on the lower left corner, and E5 will always be the ground junction on the upper right corner. Your drive coach can then call out the names of the junctions to tell the drivers to move the robot there, instead of calling out directions or pointing. With a bit of training and a lot of driver practice, your drivers should be able to navigate to specific junctions quickly, avoiding obstacles along the way. Additionally, to expedite the process of positioning and avoiding obstacles, the drive coach should make commands on where the drivers should move based on the orientation of the robot and not the field. For example, if the robot is facing right and the drive coach wants to move the robot further up the field, giving the command forward is very confusing to the drivers for 2 reasons. First, if the drivers interpret the drive coach's command as moving forward from the perspective of the robot, then they will move right on the field instead. Second, if the drivers interpret the command correctly but are trained to move the robot forward when the command forward is given, they will either take more time to find out which way they should move the robot, which is left from the perspective of the robot, or simply execute the wrong movement and move the robot right on the field instead. In this scenario, the drive coach should simply give the command left, and the drivers should respond by executing the left movement, which will move the robot forward on the field. This can get a little confusing at times, but by allocating the responsibility of tracking the robot's orientation to the drive coach, the drivers can focus on controlling the robot instead. That's all for this compass. Hope you learned something useful. Happy driving, teams!